This is Mark Hutchinson, President and CEO of GE Greater China. GE is one of the biggest multinational conglomerate corporations in the world. In 2012, it ranked third on the list of Forbes Global 500 with revenue of $147.3 billion. Mark, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing more about GE. As I was doing the research, I was bombarded with web pages after web pages after web pages.
Yeah.
Well, a huge conglomerate. And I knew, of course, the energy sector, you guys are leading in that, but I had no idea so much with aviation,
Right.
finance, transportation, gas, healthcare, home and business appliances, so many different sectors of your business. What do you focus on in China?
We have three big businesses here. Aviation, which is really we make engines. Energy, which is really anything to do with the production of electricity. And then healthcare as well, which is more on devices. So those are our three major areas here.
GE started doing business in China as early as 1906 and was considered one of the most active foreign companies in the country at that time. 2 years later, the first GE lighting plant was built in Shenyang. Till now, all of GE's businesses have set up operations in China with more than 18,000 employees. Let's start with aviation then. China, of course, is growing at an unprecedented rate with building airports and adding more flight schedules. What is it like working in a system where most of the planes are state-owned?
We make the engines on the airplane. So if you have a look outside, the next time you fly, there's a high probability it's actually one of ours off the wing. So we provide about 3,000 engines now in China, so it's a big part of the Chinese fleet.
This is for current aircraft or for future?
This is for current aircraft.
Okay,
so this is the existing Chinese fleet. And the airlines, there's a lot of different airlines in China. They're no different than really airlines around the world. And in fact, if anything, they're probably more efficient in the way they look at it. And they have their own personality to some extent.
How's that?
So they're different. So each one you deal with, you have to deal with differently. And that's the way we deal with all our customers around the world. So but they have their uniqueness, and they're very good at what they do here.
Do you mean in terms of machinery and fitting different planes?
No, just more an approach, I think, in the way they actually built their business and what they, the way they look at the various markets. Some look at them on a domestic basis, some look at a more national basis, and they tailor their fleet accordingly. So we have to deal with each customer differently, and that's the way they require.
We had a pavilion in the Olympics, the Beijing Olympics. This is a model, right? So and even the original is not this big either. But it gives you some kind of idea of how these engines are huge. You'll see one when we go over to the other lobby, actually.
And these engines are on planes in China now?
Yeah. So and about 70% of all airplanes in China have our engines on. So
wow.
Big deal.
The engines are made in America?
They're mainly made in America, yeah. So the technology you had to be very centralized. It's very precision engineering. Some of the technology, like the blades on the new aeroplanes, are more composite materials, and we're starting to do that here in kind of different designs. So 3D printing, for example. It's you can now make these blades out of 3D printing, which is in carbon, which is humongous. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's extraordinary.
For the prototype or for the actual?
The actual thing, yeah. So you get this curve of the blade. Previously, you'd have to bend the metal. Right. Now you actually build it from basically a photocopy with basically shooting out carbon and then with a laser, and you build it up that way. Incredible, actually, technology, yeah.
As you work with the customers and you're looking at their fleets, tell me about the competition. I mean, GE, there must not be one major competitor, but I guess in each sector you must be competing against smaller companies or different industry companies.
Yeah.
What is the competitive scene like in aviation?
Yeah, well, it depends. It really does depend on the industry. Aviation is one where it's a global. You had to be a global competitor. So, our competition really is the Rolls-Royces,
Boeing.
Boeing. Boeing is more on the airframe. We make the engines. Okay, so it's Pratt & Whitney. So there's actually very few kind of global players, just because of the amount of money you have to invest to get into the industry. And that when you create an aircraft engine, it's a 30-year venture.